I had to turn it down. I turned it off so I could finish eating.
Ooh, it thuds every time you turn it down. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Within the Sim, episode number 11. I'm here with Robbie. What's up, Robbie?
What's up?
And some guy named Roger. Do we know Roger?
No.
Good response. Roger's here with us today after a couple weeks off. He had an interesting week last week. He was supposed to be back with us after his vacation last week, but yeah, work called. So anyway, man, last week we had I was looking forward to last week, but it wasn't the week I was expecting. We'll start over on the oval side. I'll start on a positive note. Auto Club in the 87s. You didn't get a chance to run them at all, did you, Roger? You said, right?
No, I didn't. I wish I did.
I
You
wish I
know,
did too.
Auto Club was great. It was like a tacky. It was like a tacky Michigan. It was really good racing. You just had to save your tires. I know I went in and I qualified fifth, and we get a couple quick cautions, and we're rolling around on a caution. It was around a lap 11, and I'm thinking, man, we haven't run a lot of laps. I'm saving. Um, you know what? I'm gonna go in. Maybe if this thing goes green the rest of the way, I'll be able to make it, and nobody else can. I just have to take care of these tires, and I had to save gas anyway because at that point I was like 3 laps short. So I go and I get some gas, come out at the back of the pack, and we get a long green flag run. I forget how many laps we ran with that. Hold on, let me see if I can remember if I can find it. It was a long green flag run. It was 65 laps, and we're getting close to. I think it was around lap 40. Um, we end up getting a caution, but most of the field had already pitted, and there was like 6 of us that were still out, and they were. I was gonna pit last lap, and all of a sudden the caution comes out, and they get saved. So there's about 6 or 7 of us. I think it was seventh or eighth when I went into on the pit road that had not pitted, green flag, and a lot of cars a lap down, um, which was and a lot on the tail end of the lead lap, which was great because it put me in a really good position. Even though we didn't go green the rest of the way, I think I ended up starting fifth on that restart. Um, so now I can push it, and we got a ton of traffic in front of us because in the 87s they put the lap cars on the inside.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
And
They,
so
Yeah,
we,
not a
well,
fan.
so
Not
they
a fan of
say.
that.
So
well,
they say, yeah.
all right, but now imagine that with about 8 to 9 cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of the leaders too. It was absolute chaos for us. I mean, near misses everywhere for the top guys. I ended up working my way up to third, and we end up getting another late caution. And I'm sitting there, and we didn't get very many laps on the tires, and I'm like, there's only I think there were 7 of us on the lead lap. A bunch of people were going to get the wave around because they were on the tail end. Um, I said, you know what? I'm going to go in and get tires. I was third, and I go in and I come out seventh, which is fine. It wasn't that many positions I lost, and I do have a few laps newer tire because it was only 3 or 4 laps, but the fall off is so bad on the 87s for tires.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm going to take the chance. I'm not fast enough to beat the fifth, and everybody's telling me when I went to end the pit how I made a huge mistake. So we get ready for that final restart. I think it was less than 10 to go because it's single file, and obviously the guys you get further up are a little harder to pass. I get up to third, and I am closing in on the lead two, And I get to the second place guy, and I needed probably 3 more laps. I would have passed them both. I ended up finishing third, but I had an absolute blast. Um, I didn't. I expected to do well, but I didn't expect to do that well. Played a little bit of strategy. I just figured I'd do something different because I was not as fast as the top 2 to 4 guys. So I tried a couple different strategies. It paid off. Excuse me. I could have taken a win if we didn't. I think if we didn't get that caution in between, I probably would have gotten the win. But we wasted a couple laps there. But it was still a blast. I wish I had ran more than one race. It was an absolute blast. Um, they're going to South. They're going to South Carolina to Myrtle Beach this week, and
I will definitely run that with you.
that's a slick track. I'm interested to see how that's going to be. Roger, didn't we run the street stocks at Myrtle Beach a few weeks ago?
We did. It was horrible. They're sending the Legends to Myrtle Beach.
No, the 87.
Yeah, the Legend 87.
Yeah, the Legend series. Yeah,
Yes.
the 87. What in God's green earth are they thinking? That's going to be a.
I think it's going to be. There definitely be some cautions, but I think that'll be awesome. I think because you got to think about how they race it at North Wilkesboro. Like North Wilkesboro isn't that far off it. It's pretty bumpy too. Myrtle Beach obviously has a lot less banking, but I think it'd be a good race.
The biggest thing with Myrtle Beach is that sand is really worked at that asphalt, and that track is slick. North Wilkesboro, you got some grip. Myrtle Beach, not so much. It is that back end is going to be loose. It might fit. It actually might fit yours and our style a little bit more than some of the asphalt guys because you're going to be holding on to that thing. That back end's going to be sliding around, and you got to keep those wheels under it. It might fit. It might fit our style a little bit because those cars. I've realized more than ever that those cars drive like a dirt cart. At when I ran Auto Club, at Auto Club, it was really important to keep the weight on that right rear, and that made a huge difference. You know, you're riding off that right rear like we are in a modified, and that might play to our favor this week.
Definitely.
So, but you got a chance to run modifieds. Did you run modifieds at all, Roger?
No, but they were at Richmond, right?
Yeah,
They
no,
were.
you liked that track, didn't you?
I love Richmond. I love the modifieds at Richmond. I ran them last time they ran there, and I just an absolute blast. If you know how to the lines to run and just the quickness out of 3 and 4. I'm regret not running it. I really only ran a select few tracks last week.
Yeah, you had a crazy week with work and coolers going down and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had an awesome race at Richmond this week. Started 6, brought home P3. Had a shout out to Levi McMichael. That was an awesome race me and him had. We had a good battle from lap 22 to 33, crossing each other over just about every lap. That was fun.
You know, you showed me that before we went live, and that was an amazing battle, like 11 laps, and you guys are back and forth. And there's a couple times where I had some pucker moments thinking he was going to slide you and you were going to slide him and you were going to make contact like you were running dirt. And then, oh, there was one time you came out of turn 4 and almost got that wall on the outside. I mean, that was a great race.
Oh yeah, we were both cooking the tires that whole time. I was so close to hitting the wall probably 3-4 times in that battle. It was super fun.
Yeah, that's a fun car to run. It's wide. It's got those big tires, but it is loose. I mean, you come off the turn. It's real easy to lose the back end or push the front end into the outside wall.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with how loose iRacing had to fix setup. I don't know about you, but it was definitely it felt very free to me the first couple laps out till the
Well,
tires warmed up.
what I liked about it is I felt like I could make the car do what I needed it to do. When I
Yeah,
ran,
absolutely. You could put that thing where you wanted.
I didn't have nearly as good a run as you. I mean, I ran fourth in mine, but I think it was out of like eight people. But I'll take away that I was as fast as the top guys. I just made too many mistakes. Um, had a great battle for third for a while. I caught the wall coming out of two a couple times, just pushing it too hard. Um, I think it was I actually qualified third, and I slipped on my qualifying lap coming out of 4 and got sideways, which is why I qualified third. And I might have gotten the pole, but I definitely would have gotten second. Um, I caught the apron in 1 and 2 and had this amazing save because I almost smoked the inside wall out of 2, which is real easy to do when you lose the back end there. Um, so I had to go to the back, drive back up through. Most of the guys that were in that session were actually on a Discord call together. So they were all having a good time. I was joking around how I felt bad for one guy, so I was just trying to go back and hang out with him. But it was a good group that I ran with. They were a lot of fun. They raced clean. Um, but when I kind of reeled it back in and got going, I was gaining. I was probably pretty even with the top 2, but the third place guy was definitely reeling in. I got him all down under a second, and I mind you, I was 3 seconds back. Smoked the wall out of 2 again, and I'm not talking about a love tap. So the cars did really good, taking a hit. Taking a hit there. I was surprised because normally I would have thought I would have demolished the car. I'm sure I knocked the toe out, which hurt me too with tire wear, but it was fun. I wish I'd ran more of those too. Um, the wheeling mods I always enjoy doing. They're very momentum based. Kind of reminds me of running the big blocks.
Yeah, I hope to see that be the car that we bring back in the Fulton series when we do asphalt again. I think that's an awesome car to drive.
It's an awesome car and it represents the Northeast well. And
I agree.
And
Yes.
I think that would be a great car. I just you know, you got to get past that on our 2003.
So how did New Hampshire treat you, Roger?
Oh, dude, I love that track. Probably top 10 track for me. Obviously, you said Richmond's one of my favorites, but New Hampshire, I love the way that the line goes, right? There's multiple different grooves you can take and just you can save tire, then you can compete at the end. I mean, even with damage, right? I did a one Xfinity race. I qualified 9th, and I got up to the top 4 pretty quickly, and it was 4 wide or 3 wide, and I got put in the wall, and I got damage, and came back and finished 6th, but all because of tire saving and letting these guys just use their stuff up. There's only one caution,
Well,
so
damage didn't play a huge role as long as you didn't hurt the steering.
it killed the steering.
Yeah.
A lot of brake. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I like those technical tracks. Like I just think those technical cars, like the Wheeling series, the modified, those are fun cars for me. I ran a whole series with those. I love those cars. Xfinity, I wish I ran them more. Right, the last time I drove an Xfinity car was at Daytona, so this was my first time getting in one in a while, and those are fun cars. I'll probably run them more. I tried the next gens, and let me tell you what, I thought that they didn't turn at Dover. They didn't want to turn at New Hampshire at all.
Well, you know, that's a pretty flat track.
Oh yeah, the straight line speed you get coming out of it, the downshifting and the braking, like that thing is just gonna just get loose under you. Like it feels like you're gonna have all the air picked up off the rear tires and you're going spinning.
Now,
So,
did you find a lot of downshifting in the next gen?
yes, I actually did a couple laps where I shifted all the way down to 3rd.
Oh, it's got the 5-speed transmission there.
The next gen, yeah,
Yeah, wow.
it's got the 5 sequential. So I was going down to 3rd, and then I was trying to see if I even needed to go to 5th. Like, let me just pin it in 4th down the back stretch, front stretch, and see what it does. And you almost didn't need to run 5th, but in quick times you had to run 5th and downshift. But it's definitely different. Something I learned though with the next gen cars. Pull up my note here. So in the next gen cars, they have the different packages. We already know this about different tracks. Well, what I learned from some individuals I was running with is that you can change the front and rear master cylinders pretty much for your brakes. So all that means is it just changes the maximum hydraulic brake line pressure for the car. You can run a bigger cylinder for the rear than the front, for the front than the rear, just depending on how you go. And it's just maximum brakes, right? That thing is going to stop on a dime. It already has really good brakes, but it's even better now. Like these guys are just the straight line speed and then the downshifting and getting the thing to turn. Like I was just in shock and awe. I couldn't run what they were running, but like learning about the cylinders is definitely going to come into play for like a Richmond or Bristol. I mean, Bristol's coming up here in a couple months. That's going to be huge.
Oh, there's a big break on the right hand side of the car at Bristol.
I think Roger said it too, but it's important to point out that he's talking about fixed class racing. So
Yeah.
that's something that I wasn't expecting to have to learn about to run fixed class racing, but I'm glad that you figured that out and pointed it out.
Yeah, right. You think fixed, all you have to worry about like just the basic necessities. Now they're throwing in more. I mean, it's cool. It gives you more options, right? But
you're not really tweaking with this setup too much. It's more like a brake bias move. I could get that because it doesn't take as much technical aspects to changing those as it does changing the wedge and other things and knowing what it's going to do. So I can understand why they would add that to the fixed series over other adjustments. Although, like it, like there's a couple things. Speaking of adding stuff to fixed series, there's a couple things I wish they would let you do, like maybe a 1 or 2 click either way wedge adjustment on a fixed setup. Nothing else. Or
I wouldn't hate that if they limited it to like a couple clicks.
1 or 2 gears each way, especially like we've talked about this before with the 358s and stuff with the fixed series. Just letting a slight gear change could set it to somebody's driving style a little bit better, and probably prevent some of the problems in the fixed series because people have to learn how to drive it with a gear that maybe they should be running something where the RPMs aren't as high, where they could if they got a little more forgiving when they get on the throttle, and if they could make those adjustments, the racing actually might be better.
I agree.
Yeah, I love that. I mean,
and then there's some of us like, I mean, I know we're not the dirt yet, but like at Volusia, I mean, people can't believe the gear that I'm running at Volusia. I'm running. Hey, look, the way I look at it is, if you're not hitting the rev limiter, you don't have too much gear. All right. Now, there's some tracks that I'll be further away from that, but if you could control it with the throttle control, whether it's asphalt or dirt, and how much pressure you put on the throttle, having a gear that might spin the tires isn't going to hurt you if you don't spin the tires. It's going to help you because you're going to be able to grab what you need when you need it usually. And I do that at Volusia on the dirt side. I love that freaking high gear. And yeah, everybody else, they see that they can't believe I run the gears that I run I run at Volusia. They can't believe it. We've had this conversation. So
yeah, but I mean, it happened. Like it's
nobody seemed to notice that I mentioned that I was using the wall as a brake at Bristol, though.
I thought you said okay. No, I thought you said there's a break in the wall at Bristol.
I said there's a break on the right hand side at Bristol.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that one out.
Oh man, how many times have you gone into Bristol and just mess around with people to get quick time and just use the wall?
Never.
I've done it. You can wall ride like crazy there.
I love that. That's probably one of my favorite tracks. Like I go there in November or in October to do the driver's experience. I cannot wait. That is one of my favorite tracks.
Tyler's out here sending 3 protests and asphalt mods and 2 asphalt late models.
Definitely gonna run it.
Where were they this last week? And did you end up running any? I think you did, didn't you?
Yes, they were at Southern National. That's right.
That's right.
Actually, I had a great race there. Let's see, where did I start? I think I qualified very well. I qualified like 7th, but I ended up with like a top 3. I think 3rd.
I'll be honest with those. I mean, like, it's such a limited strength of field, and it's a great series if more people get involved. But I don't think my skill level is set for that split that you end up getting. But I think you said there was 2 splits at.
Yeah, there was a surprising amount of people in there. I mean, I think we had 19 people in our race.
Yeah, I think that's what shuns me away because I don't want to just ride at the back. I want to ride around people and get better, and I don't think I'm not quite good
Well,
enough.
there were a lot of new names in there. There was a lot of people I didn't recognize.
Yeah. But overall, I think you did a lot of pacing, if I remember correctly. Is that the
Oh
race?
yeah, there was a lot of cautions because there was all those new people that weren't familiar with the car. There was
Yeah.
a ton of wrecks at the back.
Yeah, yeah. I think you were streaming in Discord when you were running. Um, but
Pacing on iRacing?
yeah,
No, it's not.
I
No.
pacing now. Super lates, super lates are going to Five Flags. Probably one of my favorite tracks to run super lates at. I
Yeah, I'll be
love
ripping
Five
that.
Flags there. Now, Roger, I know you run super late sometimes. What do you think about Five Flags?
I just started running them a little bit. I got one buddy who runs them a lot, but Five Flags is one of those tracks that everyone who
It
wants
ain't
to
easy.
utilize the low line, the high line in the middle is like very fast there if you know how to run that line. Um,
I
so
love.
I'll probably make an appearance. I'll probably make an appearance in those.
I like that track because it is different banking on each side. It's really just about you know getting into a rhythm there. It's real easy to get loose off of two. Um, two's great because two is probably more the bottom, but you can cut up underneath people coming out of two. Three is I think a little three and four is a little more banked and you can utilize the outside lane a little bit more. Um, one and two I feel like is a wider, longer turn, so the bottom works a little bit better. But it's real easy with that when that track kind of flattens out some coming out of two to get loose and lose that back end if you try and give it too much. And it's real easy to do when you're on the outside coming out of two.
The best way to explain it, and I know these tracks are completely different, but do you run Hickory at all?
I have run some Hickory, not a lot.
So when your tires start getting loose in Hickory, you kind of just slide up that middle line. That's kind of how it goes there. That's what I like about Five Flags. It's that once your tires, so you don't have to use so much tire. That middle lane's there, and you're there at the end. Like, uh, you'll learn a lot. I mean, you run with me. You've seen. I save tires. That's me. I'll wait till the end. My horrible thing when I first started doing iRacing was I was burning up the tire, trying to be the fastest I could be. I had to learn that, hey, save until the end.
Look, the biggest thing I had to do is train myself to run my own race. And I think tire saving comes with that and not chase the guy in front of you. It gets so hard though. I watch Robbie do it all the time when he's like, if I'm spotting for Robbie, I got to say, Robbie, run your race. Because he'll chase that guy. And that's when you make mistakes anyway. And then you start using up the tires a little too much. Robbie gets so hungry, but what I realize is I just run my race. I end up chasing these guys down anyway.
Yeah, some of that too for me though is I'm always trying to. Somebody's quicker than me and they get by me. I'm just trying to stay right on them and just mimic everything they're doing.
You learn. You're
far
right.
as the
You
line.
exactly. You mimic them. You get behind them, and you learn. It's
Trying to figure out where they're getting me so I can get them back.
Well, I think the other thing is you spend so much time on dirt without that tire wear that making a mistake on dirt is much more forgiving than making a mistake on asphalt because then you have the tire wear aspect to that mistake.
Well, unless you're at port,
Well,
then
if
you're climbing the wall.
yeah,
and
yeah. You speak of, well, we'll talk about your ride at Port Royal here in a few.
well, I want to say, Robbie, you're not the only one that wants to listen, but I get shit all the time from Ox because my road to pro race at Atlanta, I had it won, and I just wanted more and more, and I bit the wall in two and lost and finished second because I wanted more and more, and I just didn't know when to give in. So I had that race won. So trust me, you're not the only one. It happens. You get hungry, you're like, oh, it's there, and you just get excited. So
Well, sometimes you got to take yourself back. And having a good spotter or somebody in your ear definitely helps. I mean, I've
you
seen
calling
it.
Ox a bad spotter? Oh, comment. Come on, Ox. Comment. Come on, Ox.
um, but that person to just say take it down a notch because and the other thing is learning the person that you're spotting too because
Yeah.
Robbie knows I do that more now than I used to because I know what he's going to do when he sees that person. And so now I'll be like, remember, you're faster than them. Don't push it harder than you already are. Run your race. Um, you're catching them for a reason. If somebody gets around you, I get it a little bit more trying to chase them. But you also have to remember, like, a lot of times when I spot Robbie, he's running F1. They might be on a totally different tire strategy than he is. And so you have to run your own race. And I think that's really important. Speaking of running your own races and tire strategies and gas strategies, Pocono this week for all three next NASCAR series. Who's planning on running some Pocono? Because I think I am.
I'll definitely run Pocono. I remember when we did that in the Fulton series, it was a lot more fun than I expected. I like the challenge of 3 different corners, and I don't know. I wish I shared Roger's admiration for New Hampshire, but I just can't seem to fall into a rhythm there. Didn't run anything there, so I don't know. I'll probably get back into a little NASCAR this week and run some Pocono.
To run together, man. We'll have to get a track and like get a session up and we can run it so you can see it because you'll fall in love with it once you realize what you have to do with it.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's once you learn the line and it's a driver's track, right? And you're gonna be like, oh wow, that outside just rolls so nice, and you're gonna have the speed, and you're not gonna burn your tires up either, and you're just gonna pass a guy that is trying to eat away, and you're just gonna keep driving away from him, and he's using up his tire. It's a good feeling.
Well, you're going to get some of that at Pocono this week, too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it right now. Everyone's gonna run the bottom. They're gonna cut the tunnel turn, and what they don't realize is the middle. If you can hold the middle in 1 and 2, you are gonna have a fast lap.
Tires are going to be ultra important there. The draft is going to play a big role. I mean, Pocono's like a super speedway short track road course mix. I mean, like, you got a little bit of everything there.
So I'm curious with the next gen. So I'm gonna run probably all the series. I like Pocono, so I want to see how much you downshift going into the tunnel turn. Are you going into 4 or are you going into 3?
Now, let me ask you a question, Roger. Are you using auto clutch and auto
No,
blip? All right,
no.
because I don't know. Did we talk about it last week, Robbie? But I know Dave put out Dave Camp put out a post. I know we mentioned something. I don't know if it was.
About how, I don't know if we did, but if we didn't, Dave Camp put out a video talking about the disadvantages of using auto clutch because he ran the Audi 90 GTOs at Watkins Glen and was confused why he was losing so much speed out of the corners. And then he did some testing and realized it was auto clutch. So if you run auto clutch, go check out that video. You're gonna second guess yourself.
I actually was listening to the iRacing Lounge earlier today, and they brought up this video, and that's when I was like, "Did we talk about that or not?" I can't remember.
You would tell me about it, but I don't know if you talked about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know we talked about it. I just didn't know if we talked about it on the podcast. But that they said that it seemed like it was like not milliseconds, like it was a half a second to a second delay with auto shift per shift.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so, I mean, that's going to be huge at Pocono, and you're probably going to be able to see that on the times. And I'm one that uses auto clutch because I tend to run more dirt, so we're not shifting.
But do you RPM match?
I just shift.
Well, I'm saying so. There's a way to get away from, let's say, auto clutch, auto blip, right?
Yeah.
You should not use your clutch unless the only time you use your clutch is when you're leaving the pits. Unless you're in a street stock, you should not be using your clutch.
I have it all on. I have auto clutch and auto blip.
Okay, so pretty much what I was taught, shown, right, is the only time you should be using your clutch is when you leave the pits, right? Getting into first, getting off. Once you're going, unless you're in a street stock or a low RPM type of car, you shouldn't have to use the clutch. You're just going to RPM match. And you're going to have to know your RPMs for the car, but that's how you shift.
Yeah.
That's it's a kind of it's at least that's how I do it.
I would miss a shift very easy.
Well,
it takes a little bit of time, but definitely try it. Like for me, I have a TH8 shifter, but I also have the paddles, so it just depends. I won't lie. So the next gen cars, I use my paddles because I don't have a good sequential shifter set up with my TH8. I don't have any force with it, so I don't like it. The paddles, I can mess with it. But anything like that, I just have to RPM match and I can downshift anything like that and get to where I need to be. You don't want to be at high RPMs when you downshift because you can blow your motor.
Well, that and you'll spin the tire going into the turn, and it'll
Yes,
slide
yes,
back
there's ways to do. Well, you hold the brake, right? There's
Yeah.
ways to do it, but you just RPM match. That's how I was always taught. It's faster. I don't know about the next gens. I'll have to figure that one out with the Pocono. I'll run it and give some feedback on it. But yeah, one thing about me is I don't run anything auto.
Well, see, the biggest thing for me is when I started getting good enough for it to matter, I started running dirt. And even when you're running the street stocks, which are the only thing you actually shift, um, you're starting in fourth anyway. So you never have to shift while you're racing. And so it never mattered to me to have auto clutch on and auto blip because the one offs that I did for road and oval, and very few ovals do you actually have to shift except on starts. It never mattered. And
Well, and like you said, street stock, like the certain cars matter. So let's say we're in a street stock race and there's a restart. Unless you're going to see who's going to use auto and you're going to see who's not using auto because they're going to get a better jump on it. But sometimes it doesn't. You need a lot of pressure to engage the clutch in those cars. Like I know some people. Like for me, I have a bad habit of pushing. I have my pedal set where I barely push a quarter of the way down and it engages the clutch. So every car is different. I can't do that on a street stock.
Max uses a button for his clutch.
No, Max is crazy.
So his clutch is all the way on or all the way off. Um,
No.
but speaking of shifting, we're gonna shift our way into some road. Robbie, you said GT3s at Montreal were just okay.
Yeah, it was fun. Wasn't as quick as I expected. Couldn't really get comfortable in any of the cars. Seemed like the Ferrari was quick. Went to the Ferrari. Was slower than I was in the Mercedes. So that was frustrating. Ran a bunch of ESS at Spa. Went 0 for 3 in LMP2 races. So not a great week for me for road. Discovered a new car though. Found out there's a new LMP car that I'd never run before. So that was cool. It's quicker. It's diesel and electric. It's an Audi IR18. Never heard of it. So I'm probably gonna run that when I can in ESS, and I'm glad I did that to get ready for GT3s at Spa this week, which I will probably hammer because Spa is awesome.
So tell me what you think about GT4s. I had to do it with the message you sent today.
Oh, I didn't get to watch it yet, but I just saw the cluster.
Yeah, Dave Cam put out a video called.
Yeah, I mean GT3s are going to be at Spa. We talked about getting me in a GT3. That's probably the track you'll get me in if I do it. And you know what? I thought about running some road this week and trying to turn on my clutch and seeing how I do. I only have the paddle shifters. I don't have an actual shifter. So, but most cars are paddle. It's sequential now anyway.
Yeah, sequential, all that fun stuff.
So I don't think it. I think the paddles probably play zero difference in how the next gen cars shift to a sequential because it's essentially the same thing. It's just one up, one button up, one button down. That's all it is.
I don't have Spa. I don't have it. I don't have the class. Man, I love Spa. I like Spa too.
We know you don't have any class, but that's why you're on here with us.
Hey, listen, I'll run the hell out of Mazdas at the Roval. All right.
Well, I was gonna bring that up. That is
Max will rip that.
That is Max's one of Max's favorite tracks. I guarantee will be running some Mazdas and getting some easy I rating for him at the Roval this week because he loves to stack up his I rating at the Roval.
Well, Max, hit me up because I loved the Mazdas last time they went there, so we'll run it.
Yeah, it depends on what his work schedule looks like because we don't ever see him anymore. Max, we miss you. We miss you, buddy.
I need that Ohio paint scheme from you. That's what I need.
So here's an interesting one, and I broadcasted a league called iLegend, and they ran the Legends cars, the actual Legends, not the 87s, at road courses. And now the Legends cars are going to Lime Rock this week. I mean, I kind of want to just do it. Just
Oh, I'll
because.
definitely be doing it. I mean, I've always known the Legends had a road course set up, but I've never seen the officials go there, so I will definitely give that a try.
And I think a lot of people are, and it's probably going to be, for lack of a better term, shit show.
You guys can have fun with that.
I just got to do it. I mean, I don't care about my road iRating the same way. I'm still learning, and I belong where I'm at. So, but that seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you'll get 3, 4 wide, 5 wide racing maybe because those cars are so small. So that could be absolutely intense. What's that?
I said you definitely should broadcast one.
You got to run the Lotus 49 at Imola.
Yeah, I
and
felt
you said
super
there was a
lucky.
lot of people in it.
Yeah, we had a 12 car field, which I'm going to count as a full field, because I've never even seen one of those lobbies go official. So I was super pumped to be in that. We started P6 and finished P2. It was a lot of fun. Believe it or not, didn't pick up all but one of those positions on an error. Everything I had to race for. So it was a good group of guys and a super fun car and track combo. I mean, by the end, I was just drifting around that place, not even intentionally. I mean, you do it twice a lap, you just get the rear end loose, and it's all about saving rear tires, really. But it was so much fun. I couldn't recommend those cars more.
I gotta imagine that if you get an official race in those, it's got to be good because, if somebody's a squirrel, they're not in the way, they're out of the race. It's not going to take long for them to
Yeah,
knock
almost
themselves out.
immediately.
And those guys that own the 49s, they're going to be pretty serious with it, and they go out there and they run them. And I mean, it just sounds like it would be a lot of fun. The car is fun. It's hard to handle, but it is fun.
Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. If you don't own the Lotus 49, buy it and run officials, please. If those win official all the time, I would run those all the time.
Now, I know you ran Mid Ohio a couple weeks ago, a week ago, whatever it was, but you didn't run it in IMSA, or you didn't run Lime Rock for IMSA, but you're talking about running Mid Ohio. I know you enjoy that track a lot.
Yeah, I'll hit up Mid Ohio for IMSA. That'll be a lot of fun. Lime Rock didn't even bother. Way too small of a track for those cars. I don't know what they're thinking. Mid Ohio though, that'll be a ton of fun with all those elevation changes. Don't know what I'm gonna go with though. I've kind of been digging the LMP racing, so I don't know. It's been rough to me. Obviously went 0 for 3 at Spa, but
Well, I know
don't
you've
know. I
run
like the cars.
It seems like every time you run the IMSA, you got ran over by an LMP, so it might make sense for you to just run an LMP.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts going into ESS. I was like, I'm sick and tired of getting run over by LMP2 cars. I'll just be an LMP2 car. And then I couldn't get it, traffic to work with me at all. There was twice in that race I ran at Spa where a GT3 car, or I'm sorry, excuse me, a GTE car rear-ended me going into the corner.
Yeah, it's insane. I know you want to run the IMSA, but every time you end up getting in them, it ends up being an issue. Radicals at Red Bull Ring. I looked at it and I almost bought the Radical, and I ended up not doing it. I took a couple days off this week from racing, took a break. Didn't have the responsibility of the kids. So that might have played a role. If I had been home, I might have actually bought it. But you had a lot of fun. Started seventh, finished second.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring was a ton of fun. Surprised me. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of having, to deal with the drafting on the long straights with the slower cars, but it was what it was. The cars handled super fun, like super good. Very predictable. I was glad to run those cars finally in an official.
What do you think they're going to run like at Summit Point this week?
That'll definitely be tougher. I'll run practice there just to see. but to me it seems like too small of a track for them. So I don't know.
It's
The
a
passing will be tough.
it's a small track with long straightaways, long straight points. I mean, it definitely feels like the draft will play a role there, but it'll complicate it because it's a smaller track as
For
far
sure.
as the crashing. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But big news, iRacing's maybe Nick will run some. I know he took a big hit, but the Porsche qualifying series starts on the 23rd at Hockenheim. They're going to be running the National A course. It's going to be 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's on a Saturday. That should be interesting. I mean, you got me hooked on the Porsche. At least watching them and I might have to broadcast these. It's a weird time for me, but maybe I'll have to jump on and broadcast some of these qualifying series. But the Porsche are so fun to watch. They're so aggressive in those, and man, it's just a cool car. And the pro qualifying series, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The top 15 from points will advance to the contender series. So, and they're gonna do battle as part of a 35 car grid, and the top 15 points will go into the Porsche Cup. So it'll be interesting to see. The guys that run those are ultra aggressive and ultra good, and that's going to be a fun. That might be more fun than the super late model dirt qualifying series was.
The exhibition race will be this Monday for the World of Outlaws Super Late Model Series. It's going to be at Port Royal, which is going to be interesting.
Yes.
But I think it's going to be an awesome race. Can't wait to root on my teammates and see what happens.
Well, I broadcasted the first 75 lapper, and it was bad, and the scoring was bad, and lots of people got black flags. I mean, there was all kinds of issues. I mean, you got to hope that they get it together for that race. I mean, they're trying to get people hooked on the series. It's got to be a good race.
Well, I do know that they're doing it's like a league format, so they'll all be in a league. It won't be an official, so iRacing will be able to clear blacks or whatnot if there's any errors or anything like that.
Well, I do know Tyler Hudson was in that race, so I'm sure they're addressing some of the issues that he may have seen, but it was really bad. People got really toxic. I mean, and it gets so much worse when you take the human error out of it and then you're getting the computer error on top of it. I mean, we've all been in those races where
Yeah,
it's
it's
taken
harder to get.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying it's hard to get mad. Perfect example is Port Royal for me today. Had a great start to the big block opener, qualified on pole. Quickly let Conrad by, and he pulled off into a different zip code. And thought I had a podium under me. Thought I had a good chance at a podium, and I can't say it was locked in, but I thought I had a good chance, and netcode got me. So it's hard to really get mad at anybody when it's just netcode's fault.
Yeah, I watched that, and I'll tell you what, I was really nervous about broadcasting that race because I watched the super lates last week and it was terrible. And so I'm thinking, man, this is going to be a shit show. Everybody's going to kill the wall. And they really didn't. There was, what, 2 cautions? Maybe
Yeah,
3?
that was surprising. We had some long runs, 2 or 3, I think maybe 3.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think at one point Conrad was out to like an 8-second lead. It was insane. But the racing was really good. People gave each other a little bit of room. I heard a lot of apologies. But man, those bumps down the back straightaway, which is really what the start of that netcode was, that ended up taking you out. Man, those were nasty bumps up by the wall.
Yeah, it was super tough coming out of the car with the race because definitely not as strong in the second half.
Volusia this week though, you got a bunch of wins at Volusia.
Yeah, I went 3 for 3 at Volusia, which was fun. Not saying much though, 'cause strength of fields weren't really that great. A couple of
Hey now,
31,
hey now.
37, 39. No, that's hey Roger. If you get a strength of field win like that, that's good for you, dude. But for someone like me, I should win that, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
it doesn't mean the same. I just didn't see that great of numbers for Volusia. I was shocked. I love Volusia. I think it's a great track. I thought it was popular, but I just I went for I joined 3 races and none of them happened to be good strength of field. So
Well,
is what it is.
I was gonna enter the 2 a.m. one last night, and it ended up not going official. I think one person registered. I ended up saying no, I'll go to bed because I wanted to get one more in. I had such a tough week. My first race, you saw it. I freaking really won it. I had a guy playing games on the start, and I got a black flag because I tried to get a jump on him, and I passed the pace car before it got in the pit road. My fault. Had a 2-second penalty. But he kept banging me down into the slick on the starts and playing some games, and I just tried to get that advantage. But I ended up, what did I get out? I missed it by 4/10 of a second in like 3 laps, covering that 2-second penalty.
Yeah, you were so close. I was trying to get you
It
there.
might have been closer than that. It was really close, and I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to do it, but overall, this is the biggest problem with Volusia is it gets so toxic. Volusia gets toxic in the big block series. Um, there's a lot of people that overdrive turn one, um, and then you got the cut down and the slider line in 3 and 4, and you know what happens there. I got caught up in a lot of dumb things, and in typical fashion, I drove up through the field quite a few times. But I'll tell you what, some of the best races I had at Volusia were at 2 a.m. We had Hackney in a race. Nick almost won. He was so mad at himself for getting beat by Hackney. I had to remind him that Hackney's one of the best on dirt. And say, hey, you can't feel bad. I mean, you're running side by side, and the way Volusia is those lanes will all of a sudden come in. So Volusia likes to change the lanes. The bottom lane will come in, and you just don't expect it. The top lane will come in. The slick will come in. And it's just a matter of hitting it at the right timing. They were running side by side, and the top lane came in for Hackney. And, Hackney being one of the best, he's not going to let that opportunity up. But I got knocked to the back of that pack and came up through the field and finished 4th or 5th in that race. I mean, we were all close together. Though I had a lot of good racing and a lot of frustrating racing. I lost my cool at one point this week. We won't talk about the things I said, but Volusia can get pretty toxic, and there's a lot of contact that just shouldn't happen. I mean, Volusia is not a hard track to drive.
I agree. The draft is way too powerful there too.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
you get a lot of people who you really know because they get next to somebody and they can't pass them.
Yeah.
They track them down, and that is one thing that I'm very good at Volusia is getting those passes. I'm good there. I love the track. I just wish I had gotten better results this week. It was definitely frustrating for me and probably kept me from running more this week because it was just a little bit frustrating. But still had some fun races, and I love getting in there with Nick and some of the guys. And I spotted for some people this week and helped them get a little bit better. So I mean, there's some positive notes to take away from Volusia. Um, so I guess we can kind of leave it at that.
Well, hold on, wait a minute.
Well,
Okay.
we're not talking about limiteds.
Oh, Roger got his first win though.
Yeah. We got to limit him to how much he can talk. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
All right. So that's pretty much for the big blocks. We saw a serious straight line. The first SOF race that was pretty bad. Definitely a lot of toxic this week at Volusia, the big blocks. Hopefully that doesn't carry over into Port Royal. But we could talk about the limiteds we're at Volusia too.
Oh, is this where I could jump in? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that's your part,
I
Roger.
know, right? Squeaky chair.
Anytime, go ahead.
I know. So yeah, Ox and I were doing this thing where we found a good schedule to run, right? Limiteds and then 358s and something in between. I forgot what we did something in between, but we ran a lot of limiteds there. And my second race there, I actually won it. qualified P3 and basically just took James' advice and just drove it, right? Like a lot of I'm new to dirt, which you guys both know that. Having a lot of fun with it. I advanced my classes very fast. Looking back on it now, I probably shouldn't have done it as fast as I did but it's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm getting the hang of it. I had to mess with some of my graphic settings because the slick was not showing up for me, so that was fun. But yeah, even though it's a limited, I'll take it as a win. Ran the bottom pretty much the whole time until the groove moved up and ran the middle, and it turned into one of my favorite tracks. I mean, we ran it a couple weeks ago in one of my dirt leagues in the pro lates. So yeah, I don't really. I mean, James gives me shit about it, but it's a limited. I'll take it.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. I
know.
I actually thought about running the limiteds. It's just I feel like there's a little less that I could do at a track like Volusia to make the car work with the limited than I can other cars. Just need a little bit. I'm used to the more power of like a big block. I think is my biggest issue there. But the limiteds, there. I mean, you got to learn somewhere, and I didn't learn to drive a big block without driving a 358 first. I mean, that's basically how it breaks down. It's harder to progress to the next series without learning how to run the car below. I mean, there's a reason why people climb a ladder.
I mean, yeah, like okay, good example. You never ran asphalt oval, right? I gave you some tips here and there. You started running better. You watched me race on my streams on Discord, and you gave me tips. And I mean, the 358s at where were we at a couple weeks ago?
I don't remember. I
It was
wasn't
one of your
watching.
favorite tracks.
One of my favorite was it Wheatsport?
Yes, because remember you told me to run that. You told me to get as close to the wall as I could, and I was terrified. But just those little tips and tricks, like it helps. And even though yeah, it's limited and stuff like that, I'm learning to control the car more with.
I
the
honestly feel
limiteds
like the
than-
limiteds are harder to drive because they're too tight. I mean, Robbie will probably agree with that.
Yeah, you almost got to drive it like an asphalt car, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if
I
you
mean-
let off the gas too much, it pushes really bad, and
Yeah.
you've
See,
thrown away that turn, and
It's like you're barely sliding at all.
Now what's drove like an asphalt track, and I don't want to segue here, but Williams Grove.
Williams
358s.
William,
That was an asphalt. I literally did everything I do in an asphalt track at that track to drive it. It was ridiculous.
hello, getting some hellos over on Facebook. Yeah, Williams Grove, I will not touch with a 358 fixed series. It is terrible and it's boring. I didn't
That
even
sounds so
I
bad.
didn't even think about running that. Even though I might have run well, I had zero interest in it. It's way too much track for those cars.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, we had a blinker in ours, and well, you heard, I destroyed my car because the dude just kept trying to take out everybody I was racing with, all my buddies, and I just took him out or tried to take him out, but he blinked, so it was a little bit of mix. But it was a fun time. I mean, it's different. I won't run it again, knowing what I know now.
Lernerville will be fun with the 358s.
Oh, I mean, I'm looking at the tracks now. I can't wait for a lot of these dirt this week.
Where are the limiteds this week?
I just saw it. The 358s at Lernerville.
Port Royal.
Yes.
I probably would not run the limiteds at Port Royal personally.
Definitely not.
I will. I will.
I mean, we were all young and dumb one time. So I'm just kidding.
But for me, I learned Port Royal on the UMPs.
Well, see, Port Royal, so a limited has more power, or a limited has less power than a UMP.
Yeah.
A limited has
know.
less power. the biggest thing is it's going to be like the 358 at Williams Grove. It's going to be too big of a track for that little power. I think that's the problem.
Way too big.
That track is faster than Williams Grove. It's probably going to be a lot of people stuck in the wall because I can't imagine you could even turn there.
It'd be
You're not.
Daytona dirt racing.
We actually practiced in the limiteds there, and I liked it.
Well, I guess I'll have to watch. I could be totally wrong. I honestly had more fun at Port Royal in a 358 than I thought I was going to have. So, um, I just can't imagine because it is slower than a 358. So,
Well,
it's like a sportsman.
Well,
And
supers and 360s go to Fairbury. That will be interesting. I don't know how the participation is going to be, considering we are going to Fairbury next Monday for Pro Series. So I don't know if I doubt we're going to see too many of those guys, but maybe we'll see some.
um,
It's fun. It's hard, way harder than a big block, but it's fun.
I broadcasted the road qualifying series, and it was a blast to watch. So I mean, you get a good group there. I think that's just how Fairbury is. I think
Mhm.
you either know how to drive it or you don't, and you get a good group there, which you get a great race. And Fairbury is a very good and it's a very racy track. It's multi-group for as small as it is, and people are scared of it. I hate that they took it off the big blocks series, but it is what it is. I could think
Yeah,
of.
that does suck.
I'd much rather them take off Knoxville.
Hey now.
Well, are you guys going to run street stocks at USA?
No,
um,
sir.
no, I didn't have
Not a
any
straight
plans.
shot guy, to be honest. I mean,
Really?
yeah, no, I just here's the thing. Like, this is gonna sound rude, and it's really not rude at all. But when
Okay.
you're racing at your I rating level in those strength of fields, the racing is fun in those. It really is, because you can rely on the leader, making mistakes or whatnot to get by him. But when you run like higher strength of field in those cars, you'll find that it's a lot of single file, no passing, because nobody can get a run on anybody because nobody makes a mistake.
Yeah, I did that at Eldora. I got in the high split, and it was like that. I mean, I get it. Uh, I do get it. It's the same at pretty
It's
much every
it's
track you do high split. Like, it's just high split's one of those things of qualify well, run well. It's
it's like Lima Land
Yeah.
and a street stock. It's an absolute blast in rookie, but once you get out of rookie, it's kind of lame. It's not the same track anymore for a fixed series. Now, if you get open setup, it's a little bit different. But when you're running the fixed series, it's definitely a lot more. I mean, that's the one thing about dirt. I think you get less variety of skill levels once you get into certain splits over asphalt. I think asphalt creates more passing out opportunities anyway in a fixed series than dirt does anyway. And that's where I go to making those little changes, allowing people to change the gear would make a huge. Some people that shouldn't have the gear that's in there, and there's some people that need more gear that's in there than what's in there. So I think changing the gear would fix. I think you'd get a lot more participation in the fixed series on dirt if they allowed a gear change, not a massive one. Do two gears each way, but I think you'd get. I think you would double the participation in fixed series because to me it would be more interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are.
100% agree.
I think the gear change would be a good idea
Um,
for any series.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to run 360s at Fairbury. I don't think I'm good enough at sprint cars to put people in danger like that.
I'll do it for you.
Williams Grove for the 410 should be a good race. I mean, that's kind of a sprint track anyway.
Yeah, I've run there before. I think it's a lot of fun. Not easy, but it's a lot of fun.
So we got changing our gears, moving over to some dirt road. I know Robbie, if you got to get out of here, just say goodbye.
I got about another 10. No
All
worries.
right. So Crystal
Not funny.
King, the first woman to compete in iRacing World Championships. I know you wanted
Yeah,
to talk about
that's
that.
pretty cool. Yeah, Crystal King. Congrats to her, first person to ever compete in a woman to compete in an iRacing World Championship. So that's something new, something we should point out and maybe get her on for an interview.
I think you're going to see more and more of that as it go. Now we've ran into Crystal on the dirt side.
Yeah, she's
Chris,
very good.
Crystal though is definitely better on road than dirt oval.
I've never caught her in a dirt oval race, but I know she's nasty in the trucks.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've seen her in the trucks, and it's absolutely insane. Totally different person than I seen in dirt oval. But you know, it might have been the beginning of the dirt oval thing too for. So you know, and it's a different type of racing, and honestly, it's more impressive that she can do it on road than oval. In all reality.
Yeah, those guys do not. I don't know if you guys have never watched those races. Go watch one, and you will not think that any of the races you run today are rough because those guys throw each other around. They throw shoulders, not afraid of contact even a little bit.
You know, if we're gonna talk about the Pro Series, though, we got to talk about the fact that Cam Pedersen has won 3 races and is sitting ninth in points. Consistency for what I consider one of the best drivers on dirt road has definitely been an issue
Oh no,
for. He's 100 points behind Keaton Swain, who I think is the epitome of consistency. Him and Connor Berry both doing well. Connor's young, but Keaton's a little bit older. I've seen Keaton; he's definitely ultra consistent. Um, took the points lead away from Connor Berry this week in the off-road dirt series, so that's kind of cool. And he's just done it with sheer consistency. I mean, it hasn't been he hasn't been making a lot of noise. I think he got a win finally last week, maybe, but he's been pretty quiet about it. Takes the points lead. He's at 356 points, and Connor Berry's back at 345, and then you got to go all the way back to 309 points to get to Felix Waugh, who's in third now. But definitely they have quite the battle going on there over. I mean, the battle from third on back is pretty close for the off-road series. It looks like it's going to be a championship battle between Keaton and Connor, though, for the overall championship. But you know, they run 2 races a week back to back, so there's 2 opportunities to take wins. So maybe that could change how the points look and throw a couple more people up in the mix.
I like that they do that. They should start doing that with rally too.
For sure.
Just
That would,
because it's so easy to get a bad start, turn one, and it's the difference between finishing top 5 and fighting for a top 10.
oh, definitely. It definitely makes it interesting. And you know what? How many times have you sat on a race all week? I mean, if you have a bad first race, you can come back. I mean, if one race is good and one race is bad, you kind of look at it as a wash. It probably doesn't feel the same way through the week, you know. But if you get a bad race and you got to sit on it all week, and it's the only race you had, you sit on it all week. I think it affects you.
I agree, and it's just more entertaining for the fans too. It's more motocross style, where they run 2 motos.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely it just adds a little bit of an element, and you got twice as much entertainment value because you got 2 winners. Um, all rally going to Lucas Oil. How do you feel about that one, Robbie?
That is a track where I did hold the world record, so we'll be hammering the Beetle Lights. Love my setup for that track. Should be good rating for me after I lost a ton at Knock Hill. Not going to talk about that.
So,
But yeah,
so if people want to come and compete with you for that world record, then
anything, come run it. Come beat my record.
you
I'll even
know,
show you the video.
and you know what? They already know they're going to be fast. More of a reason to get a better car count. Um,
Yep.
the Pro Fours Wild Horse this week.
Yeah,
So
not a bad track. Might run it.
So, you know, but pretty quiet as usual over on the dirt road side, other than the championship stuff going on. But this week we had the Peachtree 3 raising money for some MS, $58,000 raised. That beat last year's total. I think it was 57,000.
Mm-hmm. As Chad Canals would say, fuck.
so
I've been waiting. I've been waiting.
What the fuck happened there? I mean, what happened there? I didn't get a chance to listen to it.
He was just Chad Canals was in the middle of saying his goodbyes to the iRacing broadcast team and thanking everybody that helped him and let the F-bomb slip on the broadcast. So thought that was pretty funny. Not many people could have done that and not lost their job. So good for him. I thought it was funny.
When you posted that, I died. That's such a Chad Canals thing to do.
That's the difference between Twitch and NBC or Fox. Really is the big difference.
Well, let's talk about that. They've been letting these guys slip on live air, and it's not getting caught, or it's getting caught way too late.
Well, here's the biggest thing too: the leniency on the words you can say. I mean, I think if you drop an F-bomb, but they have a ratio of how many swear words you can say per however much time, and that ratio has definitely changed over the years. There's more leniency on that side, and with TV hurting the way it is, and let's face it, TV's on its way out.
Yeah.
They're going to be more lenient because they have to go more towards, a YouTube, Twitch, Facebook stream type of format because that's what people are going to for entertainment now. And it's the only way they're going to keep people paying for that cable bill.
Yep.
So, as usual, we get a couple teasers from the Peachtree 3, Indy Rescan. So that'll be cool. It looks like the road course is in there. Obviously the oval's in there, and looked like there might have been a little secret there in turn 3. It looks like they might have scanned that dirt oval.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like there's quite a bit of detail put into that 3D mapping over there. I don't know.
It'll be worried about giving us more content, but we forget about the time that they spend on maintaining the current content we have. We finally got the Atlanta update. I mean, those updates are just as important as getting new content, and we forget about that sometimes. It's easy to get lost, and we want more tracks.
And another thing teased, was it Greg West or who was it that put that out, James?
For
about so they said that they're going to get us a screenshot of rain. They didn't have one ready. It'll be about a week out.
I found it on Steve Myers.
Okay, Steve Myers said that.
Yeah, that's where I found the tweet, and it said the rain screenshot. It's not screenshot. Video is coming soon. This week, I believe.
I read the article that he said, and it's not that the rain's already in iRacing. They've already confirmed it's in iRacing. The problem is now they have to do it. They have to do dynamic rain for every track, every car, and how it reacts.
Yeah,
that's what's taking so long.
They got to fit it with the tire model, and that is each individual car. So they could release it for like one series or one track. So and I heard about that. Like they have some tracks over on like Assetto Corsa or whatever, where they're limited on what tracks can do rain, and iRacing doesn't want to just come out with that. And I also saw that they were talking about dynamics, like you can, when you go to host a race, you can decide what time the rain is going to come during that race and what time it's going to go away. And there's so many different things that they're working on to work with that rain. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I thought that was a lot of cool information, because there's a lot of stuff we don't think about that they have to do. We think, come on, rain. But they have to incorporate all this stuff into the programming. It's not just clicking a button and saying, hey, there's rain.
I watched in my YouTube travels this week, I watched a pretty interesting video. I think it was from Sim Racing Garage. They were talking about what they wanted to see out of rain and the new update in iRacing. And one of the things that they brought up that I didn't even think about was they were talking about having rain affect the dirt side. Like, what if after qualifying it rained and the track changed?
Yeah, I saw that, and And that's an interesting idea, but I
I mean,
don't
it's realistic.
I
It should be in the game.
I don't find him doing that or pushing that idea as much.
Oh yeah,
That
I agree. It probably won't happen, but it should.
cars, and we can go run the oval. You just have, I think what
Well, they did test that. They tested the rain tires at Martinsville last year.
I didn't know
They,
that.
no, they did. They soaked the track and they tested it at Martinsville.
Oh, that's not the same as regular rain though.
Well, it was a test to see how the water would
Yeah.
stand.
Well, and the biggest thing though is what Junior said is it'd be no different than racing anything else. You're just slowing down the corner.
Yeah.
In reality, I mean, you wouldn't go do it at Daytona or Talladega,
Well,
but you
look
could.
at the Roval. It
Yeah.
poured last year, and half of the Roval is banked.
Oh yeah, it's definitely very doable, and I think that's why Junior said it. And it would make for an interesting race if they showed up at New Hampshire
Bristol.
with rain. Or
Oh yeah.
Well, they
I
did
don't.
last year in New Hampshire. It rained,
I
and they
don't think.
backed the field.
I don't think that Bristol rain would affect the same way as so. There's multiple, or even we're gonna throw National Super Speedway. I don't think the rain would affect those tracks the same way as it would affect some of the other tracks. Partially, some of it's the concrete. So what makes it so treacherous on and even Martinsville wouldn't be affected the same way. What makes it so treacherous on an asphalt track is the oils that come to the surface when it first starts to rain. I don't know if you guys remember taking your driver's test, your permit test, and they ask you a bunch of questions, and that's how you get your permit, is whether or not you got to go. Yeah, you got to go. I know. All right, Robbie,
Take it easy, guys.
get the hell out of here. See you later, buddy. But I don't know if you remember doing your permit test, and one of the things that the questions I had on my test and the 5 hour course that I had to take in order to get my license was, um, when is the road the slickest? When it's raining hard, when it first starts raining. There was a bunch of questions like that. And the answer was when it first starts raining, because that's when all the oils from the asphalt race to the top.
Well, I mean, yeah, I could go into this for a while because this is something that I've been
Cody,
very
thank you for the
curious
like.
in. This is something I've been very. I don't think it will do rain on a Dover. I don't. There's a lot of tracks that I don't think
I think
you
no,
could do rain on.
Dover would be fine. I think Dover
I
would
don't.
race well
I
because
don't.
I'll tell you why, and that's what I was getting to with Bristol too. My main idea behind Bristol and Nashville, you're not going to have the same effects on the concrete for one, and it'll be better than the asphalt, and two, Bristol and Dover are banked so much the water's just going to run off, so it's not going to be the same wet you'll get somewhere else.
I agree with that. Right where the water's going to sit. We saw it with the Bristol dirt where it rained. You saw where the water sat.
Yeah.
I still don't think you'll be able to take the corner at Bristol with even a mist.
I think
Look at New Hampshire. New Hampshire was a perfect example. Last year, it started raining right when they left pit road. They did a couple caution laps. All the radios lit up going, there's rain on the track. There's rain on the track. Green, green, green. What happens? The leaders wreck going into one because they had nothing.
Well, here's the bigger difference between asphalt and road. You're going because the track takes up a smaller area than road.
No,
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
there's a
Hold
rain
on, hold
line
on.
and there's a
Tyler asked, speaking of ovals and new stuff, in October when North Wilkesboro goes dirt racing, could we see it dirt North? I guarantee.
I
see it
guarantee
dirt.
it. Yeah, I guarantee it's already in the game. It's probably already in it. It's
Well, they'll rescan it. They'll scan it.
But I'm saying like what
Yeah.
Steve Myers was saying about it. There's a bunch of stuff already in iRacing's files that people have found that aren't implemented yet because they're still working on it.
Yeah. But with the biggest thing is if you were going to make rain work on an oval, you have to make this NASCAR would have to make the decision to throw the yellow flag before the rain came because the speeds and the type of track is different. and the amount of moisture that'll hit the track will be quicker and a bigger area of the track. So they have to be able to predict that in order to make it work, because you'll have to. Yeah, Bristol is overrated. You have to be able to get the tires switched before the rain comes, because you can't be on the slicks in a cup car. I mean, it is different. It is different than running road. Um, Road, you're already running a slower pace at most of the corners because it's a different style of race. You would have NASCAR would have to make the call. It wouldn't be the teams making the call in order to make it work. But if they had shredded tires on and the rain hit, they would be fine.
I'd be curious to see. I mean, when the rain comes in, I feel like there's a lot we could play with and mess with and figure out.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting, but it would have to be pre-planned. And who cares if the tire wear is bad? If NASCAR's making the call, everybody's tire wear is going to be bad.
Yep.
You know, if it doesn't rain right away. So I think we got a good enough radar that system that they could make those predictions. It would be interesting to see. You know what? You do it at an expedition race like the Clash. If it's,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Clash wouldn't work, or if they change the All Star race, which they won't, to a different track, that would be a good race to say, hey, if it rains, we're gonna run.
I mean, I went to that All-Star race this year. It was horrible. I agree with the changing. It needs to be changed. If it's possible to do, would I love to see it? Yes. I honestly, I say Charlotte when couldn't be done, but they did it last year in the Xfinity Series. They did it last year in the Cup Series. It poured, and I mean poured at the Roval, and they ran it's 1 and 2. They ran 1 and 2, and everything was fine. I mean, the Rooster Tails were wicked, but they ran it and it stuck. So
I do believe Dover would be pushing it mostly because of the narrow effect. But I do think it is doable. I think Bristol is doable. I think that Martinsville would be a great place to test it at. And make the track interesting, because I mean, it's gotten more interesting recently, but Martinsville lost some of its, thrill years ago.
I mean, yeah.
Martinsville lost a lot in the '90s when you had Gordon winning a caution-free race by a mile. Not that I dislike Gordon, because I was a Gordon fan then. But Tyler says, as a dirt fan, as a dirt fan, I want to see, but I'm curious if a berm of grass on the inside of the asphalt version. Do you think it would be like at USA and cover it with dirt like Knoxville? I think it would be interesting because the grass has zero effect. Give me a man with a big truck and a dirt road, and I'll fall in love. There you go. I do think that a berm would make a difference at USA, because I use the grass and it makes zero. It does not affect the car at all in dirt. In a dirt car, it is just like you're on the dirt. I think the berm would. I mean, I think the berm would add a different element at USA and probably make it a little bit more interesting. But what would I want to see? I think that would be cool to see. But if you want to ask what I want to see on dirt, I want to see tire wear and I want to see a real cushion.
I knew tire wear was coming from you. As a new dirt person, I feel like a real berm would be nice. Only because I keep watching it on TV and looking at it, I'm like, okay, that would seem different. Like you get set in your ways here, with it. I actually would like to see that with the tire model, let's say, right? Yeah. Maybe the grass does affect the tire.
Well, and that would make a difference too, and add a different element. And I guess that's the idea with the berm, is if you hit the berm at Knoxville, man, it doesn't definitely affect you.
Oh yeah, it'll knock you around.
But a berm would be a tire wear, and a berm would be the best thing. And the berm, my biggest thing is people not using the wall. I don't feel as comfortable as some of these other guys using the wall, leaning it up on the wall. I mean, Robbie was just talking about Conrad winning at Port Royal. Conrad is comfortable with putting it up on the wall.
I'm still getting used to
Okay,
it.
so would I like to see a berm at North Wilkesboro if they put dirt on it?
No.
I think it will make zero difference at North Wilkesboro because it's way too baked.
Are you
They'll
say yeah,
they'll
North
pro
Wilkesboro is very banked.
they'll
It's a
they'll
lot more banked than you think it is.
they'll they'll probably put tires down at the bottom like they do at most dirt tracks, some big old powder donuts or something. But I don't think a berm is something you'll see. And I don't think it'd be issue either way. I don't think a berm would make any difference at North Wilkesboro, whether you have it or you don't. So I guess I don't have an opinion on that. Like I said,
I think
anything
they're gonna
dirt.
do what they did at Bristol Dirt and just do the white. I wouldn't even call them berms.
The berms. The
I wouldn't even call them. I don't know what the white speed bumps in a way made out of dirt. Like they weren't big, but they were enough to
upset the
knock you
car.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like that's
I th-
something they could probably do.
I think they'll keep it more classic, and I think they'll use the tractor tires if they do anything at all. I don't
It'd
think
be
they'll.
cool to see.
I don't think it's going to play a role because that track is turtle heads.
That's what. Yep.
All right, what's your But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I think it's. I mean, North Wilkesboro is going to be wild. You know what? It might.
I'm excited. I like North Wilkesboro.
Tires roll the same way.
Oh man. Uh, it, I like North Wilkesboro in the modifieds. It's one of my favorite tracks.
It might see. It's going to be
It's
interesting because I think it's going to be something of a cross between Port Royal. I think the racing will be better there as a dirt track than Port Royal.
I do too. It's a very long track, especially for a dirt track. Looking at it as a dirt,
But those
I
turns
think
are really long. But so is Port Royal. I guess I got to run some more laps at Port Royal to get a good opinion.
the turns are very long, but they're also very slow. Like the banking is bigger than people think. And then going up, Junior talked about this the other day at his podcast. Going up the front stretch, you're going up a hill.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for tire spin on dirt.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Are they going to flatten it? What are they going to do? Like, how deep are they going to
Oh,
dig this dirt?
they're not going to change anything about the layout of the track. This is all about keeping the track classic. Basically, what they're doing is they're going to be putting dirt on it as part of the. They're not putting dirt on the concrete. They're going to tear up the
They're tearing up the concrete, then they're going to
asphalt.
dirt. Yeah.
The asphalt, and they're going to put the dirt down, which is going to be the base for the track when they put the actual track on. And so I don't think they're going to change anything. I think it's going to be the same way the track is. This is all about keeping it classic, keeping it the way it's always been. That's been the whole drive. They want to keep that classic feel. I don't think anything's going to change, and I'd be interested to see if you got a super late model or a big block with a ton of power. Did I miss a good race? Where were you racing, Selby? Was it the pro late or the super lates? I think it's going to be interesting to see if you get tire spin going uphill.
Only time will tell. We only got a couple more months.
And how that's going to play a role, because like if you're in a late model, Selby's in here, so it's making me think about it. And you're getting on that gas, and you get some the pro. Oh, okay. And you get the tire spin, it'll yank you into the wall. You know what I'm saying? Going down the front straight at Knoxville, for example.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Here's my thing. We waited how long for Atlanta? The new scan?
Yeah, we'll get dirt at the beginning of. Let's see. When's this? Let me grab the schedule. No, we won't get it at the beginning of season 4. When are they running the dirt there?
September, they're running.
Okay.
The super lates. I honestly think the first of the year. I think you're going to get it.
Hold on. When is the North Wilkesboro dirt race?
They're not putting new dirt down. They're using the same dirt they ran in 1947 that's under the asphalt.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wait, what?
I didn't know that.
October.
I thought they were putting new dirt down. October.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I was gonna say they're running
Okay.
the last super lates, and
I bet you I would almost guarantee that you're gonna get the dirt North Wilkesboro the same week that they're running dirt there.
run the same dirt from 47. They're not gonna add nothing. I mean, that's what they said on the download. Okay,
Okay.
I have to go watch the down. I haven't seen the. I'm still on door bumper clear for the week, so I gotta catch up.
Yeah, so that'll
Okay,
be
okay. Maybe they can. Maybe
well,
maybe they'll scan it and it's already. I don't know.
Well, they won't be able to scan it because they got the asphalt race, or they just ran an asphalt race coming. The asphalt race is coming. All right, then they're gonna tear up the track, but they'll scan it and release it the same way. I believe. I could be totally wrong.
What if they just scan it? Okay, hear me out. Right, this is big thinking here, and they just put dirt on it.
They're not gonna. They're not gonna just put. They're gonna tear it up and they're gonna scan the dirt that's down there, and they'll guesstimate what the track is gonna do during the race. But they'll want to launch it with that because they'll want to drive traffic to the races. And with Earnhardt playing such a big role in it, I believe it's going to get released immediately. There'll be updates, but I believe it'll get released the same week that they go to the dirt races there. Week before, just to draw people to the track. At that point, it's publicity, and that's important.
Huge.
Oh, I just seen dirt midgets at Weed Sport. I might go die. I suck at midgets, but I love Weed Sport.
I gotta go hook up my wheel. So, but
yeah. So I mean, so there's a lot of interesting things. We'll see what's going to go on with that. I mean, I'm kind of in the area. We have drag racing here in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, or we get what we have at Lanier with the whole lipper on the bottom.
Yeah, but I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, I really do. I think it's going to be more about promoting the track and what Earnhardt's doing than it is. I'm not saying that they want to take away quality, but I think there's a lot more invested into this project than what people realize, and I think they're going to want to continue to push that investment. They're going to change it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're going to have to a little bit. Like, it's going to.
I wish gas wasn't $4 or $5 a gallon because I would love to go on a road trip.
Oh, I would go to North Wilkesboro in a heartbeat.
Chloe's talking about drag racing down at Bowling Green. You're not too far from that. I mean, compared to me.
No, about 4 hours somewhere around there. Yeah, no. I got drag. See, I like drag racing though.
But I got 2 kids to pack in the car when I take the trip.
Yeah, see, I don't have to deal with that. But I mean, well, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'd like to see put in or just added. I mean, I don't know. I really feel like they need to fix the incident model.
Yeah.
That's talked about, but it's not really brought it because everyone's just over it. It just happens. Like it. I can go. There's a whole show.
There's a lot of things they got to fix, but I mean, sometimes we forget about everything that's going on.
I think they should rescan a lot of tracks. I think that the weather and the wear deals a bunch with it, right? Like I mean, New Hampshire, perfect example. I don't know if you watched the race or not, but the resin.
I don't have cable.
I use YouTube TV. I don't use cable.
Well,
I have YouTube TV.
I don't.
Well, and that's fine. I have the sports pack because I watch all types of racing, right? The resin wasn't put down on the track this year, but there was still a little bit of resin from a few years ago. But the track acted completely different. I wish that there was a setting in this that we could change that, right? I mean,
I am
On
running
dirt,
into
you can change.
I am running into connection issues right now.
Are you?
Yes. It's coming back. It's coming back. Yeah,
Okay.
the last freaking little bit I've been having some connection issues for some reason.
Oh, like me the other
Yeah.
night.
But anyway, it's been about an hour and a half. We're gonna go ahead and close this one up.
Cool.
A lot of
Race.
cool information to talk about next week. What race are you looking forward to the most this week?
The most?
Yeah.
Arca's at Michigan.
I figured and I didn't bring that up earlier, but I thought about that. I think I'm gonna look forward to the super lates at Five Flags. And trying the 87s at Myrtle Beach.
I don't think I want to die in Myrtle Beach. I'm actually gonna take a note down of what I ran a lot of this time. I got a pretty free week this week. I don't hopefully not nothing like you said fridges and freezes go down at work. So I'll have some time on my hands. I want to run a little bit of everything a few times and just get a good base for next week, right? Especially on asphalt. Run some dirt, obviously, too, but I definitely want to get more into asphalt again and get my stride back. So,
for sure. Well, guys, it's been a good one. We're going to call it a podcast, but lots to talk about, lots to think about through the week. Hope you guys come back next week. Download on all the major podcast platforms sometime tomorrow. And as always, until next time, be safe.